Welcome back, boys and girls. As you can see, um, we've kind of been starting to talk about what was going on in the frontier. That means out west in this area. We talked about how Americans kept moving out west onto native lands, and Tecumseh and his brother, the prophet, had to kind of rally the Native Americans together because Americans kept pushing out on their territories, breaking the treaties. So the story continues. As you can imagine, Americans wouldn't stop. They end up settling the territory of Indiana, which is right here, and they choose this man, General William Henry Harrison, as their governor. Now, as governor, you have a job: protect your people and try to get your territory to become a state. He's doing just that, Harrison is. And he really sees an opportunity. Tecumseh is down in the south trying to rally the Cheyenne, the Choctaw, and the Creek Indians into a larger confederacy to fight against these Americans moving onto their lands. And he sees an opportunity. He ends up attacking in Prophetstown, the prophet, and defeating him and the natives there in the Battle of Tippecanoe. Okay, so that's why we have the Battle of Tippecanoe here. Later on, Harrison's victory in the Battle of Tippecanoe would allow him to earn the privilege of serving as our nation's president later on in history. We'll get to that later. But Tecumseh is really given no choice now. He sees his brother defeated. He's got no other allies but the British. So that's why the British flag is here. Tecumseh joins the British, and the Americans catch wind of this, and they become fearful. We cannot have these natives and the British now attacking our settlers moving out west. So the idea of the war hawks comes in here. War hawks are people who support war and expansion out west. These were young Republicans, usually in their 30s, that really wanted war with other countries because of all the wrongs that were caused by the British: impressment, seizing our ships, all the wrongs that France did, tricking us into trading with them, yet continuing to seize our ships. So we have that element joining in the effort of raising our escalation or our, I guess, closeness or willingness to go to war with another country. These war hawks were very strong believers in nationalism. I'd write this down, which is the belief that one country is the greatest. It's also national pride. Okay, so that's why we got the flag shown here. Okay, nationalism can cause wars on one hand. It can also be a very good thing too, because it brings people together. Think about what happened in September 11th, 2001, when terrorists bombed the World Trade Center with the airplanes, or flew into them rather. Flag sales increased, and I would have to argue that that's one of our most patriotic time periods in U.S. history right there. Let's move on. So the war machine, you should write this down, can't be stopped once it gets in motion. We've got really two crazy guys, John C. Calhoun of South Carolina here, and Henry Clay of Kentucky. Henry Clay's a big war hawk. He wants to push for war against the British. Henry Clay's all about expansion. So when we talk about the war hawks being people who support war and expansion out west, these two guys, Clay and Calhoun, were the leaders in really pushing us to war. So James Madison, I have right here, he won election in 1808, and right around 1812, the constant pressure from these war hawks, the constant impressment going on by the British, caused us to escalate or get into not World War, but the War of 1812. So one of the things you may jot down here quick as I write it is some of the causes of the War of 1812. Okay, and then that'll be it. Causes: impressment, treaty with natives, search and seizure of our ships. Okay, so those are really the things that cause us to get into another military conflict with another country. Unfortunately, it would be the British again, but this is a pretty cool story. On to the next section. Great job.